Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today we're going to be talking about one of the greatest albums ever produced from Australia. Men at Work's Business as Usual. This was the very first album from the Australian band, released in November of 1981. That was in Australia. Us folks over here in the United States had to wait all the way until June of 1982 before we were blessed with the goodness of Business as Usual by Men at Work. He said this was their first album, and it was a huge hit in Australia. Spent several weeks on top of the Australian albums chart, and the Australian cover was a little bit different than this one. It had a black and white cover. Same design, but they added the yellow to it. So it was a little different over here. This was also a #1 album in the United States as well. It spent 5 weeks atop the U.S. charts. So it did quite well for an album and from a band from Down Under. And as evidenced by one of the major hits from this album, Down Under. The very first single from this album that a lot of people know is the song Who Can It Be Now? Now, it came out in '81, and it kind of hung out for a while, became a hit in Australia, and eventually kind of snowballed into becoming a bigger hit throughout the world. Now, also, followed by the next single, which was Down Under, the song that I spoke about, introduced the world to lines like Vegemite sandwiches. Funny enough, the flute line that kind of drives the song, the little riff there that was played throughout, actually was the subject of a major lawsuit. The song Kookaburra Sits in the Old Gum Tree from 1934 by Marion Sinclair. There was a federal court in Sydney, Australia, that ruled that that it had actually was a violation, a copyright violation, and so a lot of the royalties from Down Under would compensate for that. So it was interesting, and also the other single from this album is "Be Good Johnny," which is a great driving new wave song. Really good stuff to be found there. This album was listed in the book 100 Best Australian Albums. That was in 2010. Now, what had happened by this point in the early 80s, the band had Greg Ham playing flute and saxophone, Colin Hay, a lot of people know Colin Hay's vocals and guitar, John Reese played bass, and Jerry Spicer played drums. Ron Strykert played lead guitar and was a singer. Now, Colin Hay was the group's main songwriter and singer, and has had quite a successful solo career, branching out from that. He's a really good writer. They signed with the Australian version of Columbia Records. They put out the second single, Who Can It Be Now? And that was it. It kind of grew from there. Now, they used a United States-born producer, Peter McClan, and just everything kind of snowballed from there. But it's a really strong album, and mainly it's strong because it's very kind of punchy. It's a very kind of low-key production. It's not awash in a lot of the 80s sort of synthy sounds that was very popular around the time. So the strength is really in the songs themselves, melodically strong, and there wasn't a lot of stuff added on top of it. The songs were easily sort of catchy and very melodic. Now, it did have a little bit of that new wave kind of, herky-jerky thing, I think, that a lot of people associate with new wave music. But I think you could find yourself really enjoying most of the material on here. So today's Daily Record, Men at Work's Business as Usual. What do you think? Comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, follow on Instagram and Twitter, TommyBurton75. You know the drill. Give me the thumbs up, the like button. Sorry, microphone. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.